will cover an important topic of Indian history, that is struggle for independence. Revolt of 1857 was one of the major events leading to the struggle for independence in India. Now, before this revolt of 1857 took place, there were some other mutinies or revolts, though these mutinies and revolts before 1857, they were not on a very large scale, because they were crushed by the Britishers with lot of violence. We will see two such mutinies before 1857. Sepoy Mutiny at Vellore. This occurred in fort at Vellore in 1806. Another incident was Quasi Mutiny of 1824 by 47 native infantry at Barakpur. This occurred because Indian soldiers, they refused to go to Burma by sea route. They were forced to travel to Burma by sea route during Anglo-Burmese war. Now, we will see the causes of revolt of 1857. Immediate cause for this revolt was the Britishers. They issued greased cartridges, and the grease composed of beef and pig fat. So, the such kind of composition of grease was not acceptable to the Indian soldiers, because it was against their religion and against the religious belief to touch such kind of grease. Now, there were many other causes, or we can say there were many other grievances. Social and religious causes, interference with social and religious lives of Indians, examples of this interference were like, for example, abolition of sati. Thereafter, Hindu widow remarriage acts. So, these were not acceptable to the Indian society. Economic causes. As far as the economic causes are concerned, the British rule led to the breakdown of self-sufficiency of Indian villages. Self-sufficiency of Indian villages was very important part of village economy in India. Then the industrialization caused a lot of drain of wealth from India. There was decline of economy, as we can see here. Military grievances. Indian soldiers were required to travel to far distances without much benefits, without much allowances. Then Service Enlistment Act of 1856. Under this act, it was compulsory for the Indian soldiers to cross seas, that is to travel by ships whenever it was required. Political causes. The political causes, for example, where the imposition of various policies by the Britishers. For example, they wanted the Mughal emperor to vacate Red Fort in 1856. This happened during the time of Lord Dalhousie. Vacation of Red Fort was announced by them that the Mughal emperor will not stay in Red Fort. Some more policies like doctrine of lapse. Now, under the policy of doctrine of lapse, it was said that the adopted sons of any deceased kings will not be eligible to rule, means the rule will stop after if a king or a queen does not have any kind of heir. So, due to this doctrine of lapse, many kingdoms went to British under British East India Company. Another incident was annexation of Awadh. Awadh was ruled by Nawabs and it was attached to East India Company by saying that there is a misrule in Awadh, whereas it was not the actual reason. Britishers, they forced Indians to do away with many titles like Nawabs or maybe emperors, etc. Agrarian causes, that is the causes related to agriculture in India. Over assessment of revenue, this led to a lot of economic crisis. The farmers were heavily taxed. The course of revolt. The revolt started in March 1857. It started in Barakpur and the 34th Bengal Native Infantry was the unit in which it started. Mangal Pandey, who was a sepoy in 34 Native Infantry at Barakpur, he attacked and fired at British officers. However, this was suppressed and Mangal Pandey was finally tried and executed. Thereafter, it spread to Meerut in Uttar Pradesh. In Meerut also, many soldiers, they refused to touch the grease cartridges. About 90 soldiers of 3 native cavalry at Meerut, they refused to touch the grease cartridges, so most of them were dismissed and sentenced to rigorous imprisonment by British East India Company. These are some of the places and photographs of 1857 revolt. Thereafter, Bahadur Shah Zafar was declared as Shahenshah by many people who were involved in the mutiny. Many sepoys, they came to Delhi and they wanted to capture Delhi. This was the slogan of this revolt. Areas affected by the revolt. We have seen that it started in Barakpur, thereafter Meerut was affected, and many places in North India were affected. These places were Lucknow, Allahabad, Kanpur, Bareilly, and even central India like Jhansi. This shows the map of areas affected by this revolt. There were different leaders who led this mutiny from different places in India. We will see some prominent leaders. Barakpur was Mangal Pandey. Delhi, Bahadur Shah II. Lucknow, Begum Hazrat Mahal. Kanpur, Nana Saheb. This is one of the incident near Kanpur, massacre of persons of East India Company and their family members at the Sati Chaura Ghat. Kanpur and Gwalior, Tatya Tope. Jhansi, Rani Lakshmibai. This is a photograph of Jhansi Fort. This fort was taken over by rebel forces later on and subsequently defended against recapture by British soldiers led by Rani of Jhansi. Bihar, Kunwar Singh and Amar Singh. Mandsaur, Prince Firoz Shah. So this is a map during the time of mutiny, that is 1857, map of North India. These are some of the incidents which took place during this mutiny of 1857. Reasons for failure. Though mutiny of 1857 was started with lot of enthusiasm by Indian soldiers and many other people who were involved. However, this was not a success. There were many reasons for the failure. We will see them. One is that organization. It was a event which was not very well organized. Then there was lack of coordination between the rebels. The second point is about coordination. Resources. The Britishers had better resources as compared to the Indian mutineers. Resources maybe in terms of weapons, in terms of the soldiers, in terms of their training, so they were better off. Telegraph. The Britishers had access to the telegraph. Because of telegraph, they could be well informed about the movement of the rebels. And since the Britishers remained well informed, they could carry out the movement to counter the rebels in short time. Unity. Lack of unity amongst the Indians. Many native rulers, they did not side the mutineers, or they did not take the side of the rebels, the rebellions during this period. Weapons. Indian soldiers and those who were involved in the mutiny, they did not have proper weapons, proper arms and ammunition. Even there was lack of support from modern educated Indians. Consequences of the revolt. The revolt of 1857 brought many changes in the British administration in India. Charles Canning, he was the Governor General of India during this mutiny. Very important development took place, that Government of India Act 1858, also called as Act of the Good. So this was passed in England, and the Indian territories, they came under British Crown. East India Company was no longer responsible in India. Everything came under the British Crown after this. Reason for this was that Britishers, they did not want such kind of thing to happen in future again. Queen's Proclamation of 1858, also called as Magna Carta. The post of Governor General was replaced by another title, that is Viceroy. Now, Britishers, they brought some changes in their policy in India, and one of the changes was, as we can see here, is the abolishment of the policy of doctrine of lapse. So, doctrine of lapse was done away with, and we have seen earlier that what is the doctrine of lapse. Under this policy, if a ruler does not have or did not have any kind of a next immediate family member, then that ruler or the next successor will be British East India Company. Many treaties were honored. Religious freedom was restored. They introduced the Civil Services Act of 1857. So, under the Civil Services Act of 1861, Indians were allowed to participate in civil services exam. Satyendranath Tagore was the first Indian to join ICS, who later on retired as Judge of Satara. Some of the other consequences of revolt are as shown here. Many Indians who participated in the revolt, they were tried in courts, and many of them were punished in the manner as shown here. Execution of mutineers at Peshawar. This shows the mass execution of rebels. Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah, as shown here, he was captured along with his sons by British Army officer, and he was later on sent to Rangoon. This is the place, Khuni Darwaza in Delhi, where princes of the Mughal dynasty were shot by British Army officer, Captain William Hudson. Indian freedom struggle, which started with the mutiny of 1857, it was called as Indian War of Independence by V.D. Savarkar. Now, after this, after 1857, we have seen that in 1858, the Britishers, they brought many changes in India, including East India Company. Instead of East India Company, they started the rule of their own government in India. Now, after this, till 1885, nothing much could happen, because lot of suppression and lot of things were not in the favor of Indians. Now, thereafter, the period of 1885, some changes took place. We will see that change. That change was the birth of Indian National Congress, and thereafter there were many factors which led to the rise of nationalism in India. These factors for the rise of nationalism in India are as shown here. Administrative unification means India was united from various sides. Economy was also on the little, we can say that middle class was prevalent during this period. Then things like Western education, so people could get lot of idea, lot of knowledge about what is happening in the world. Improved communication, including movement of people, then telegraph system. So many such things led to the growth of nationalism in India. Modern press, due to the modern press, common people could get lot of knowledge in the surrounding, in the nearby countries. History books led to the rediscovery of past, and many social religious movements. These movements brought many Indians together. These movements gave a new platform to the locals. Many global movements like French Revolution, American Revolution, so these movements were known to Indians. Birth of Indian National Congress. The Britishers, they announced formation of Indian National Congress under A.O. Hume. The first session of Indian National Congress was held at Bombay in 1885. The aims of the Congress. Congress was formed with certain aims by the Britishers, and it was supposed to be a social organization in the beginning. They wanted cooperation amongst the political workers. They wanted to eradicate social evils. They wanted to promote national unity. So they felt that organization like Indian National Congress can work in these directions. It was also felt that if an organization is formed, then various demands can be presented before the government in systematic manner rather than getting involved in revolt or mutiny. Training and organization of public opinion in country means, again, whatever is the public opinion in the country could be channelized in a systematic manner. This was the flag of Indian National Congress. The safety valve theory. The Britishers felt that Indian National Congress could act as a safety valve. Means if anything goes wrong, the Congress will be first to act against it. Now, during this period, Congress had many leaders, and all the leadership, we can say that it was in the form of moderate leadership. Demand of Congress leadership, that is demand of moderates. Their political demands were moderate and economic demands were radical. Economic demands were radical means that they wanted drastic changes in the economy, so that they wanted that people should live a better life. Achievements of the moderates. There were many achievements made by the moderate leadership of Indian National Congress. For example, creation of national awakening. Then they could popularize the theory of drain of wealth. Means they could spread the message in people, common people, that the wealth from India is being taken away from us. The Britishers introduced many amendments in their governance. Some example is that, for example, the Public Service Commission Act 1886, then Indian Council Act of 1892. So, through such acts, some powers, limited powers, were given to the local Indian leaders. The extremist, from 1905 to 1908, this was the phase of extremist leadership in Congress. The extremists, they wanted complete autonomy. They introduced the policy of boycotting various things introduced by Britishers, like boycotting foreign goods, boycotting various darbars, various offices of Britishers. And 1911, they were successful in restoring the partition of Bengal. This we will see separately. So, what we saw just now, the period of extremist is given here from 1905 to 1909. Why this period is given? Because in 1905, Britishers, they announced the separation of Bengal, that is partition of Bengal was announced by them, and after this some leaders from Congress, they felt that there is a need to adopt some drastic measures, and that is why they were called as extremists during this period. And during 1908, they got separated from the mainstream Congress. This part we will see subsequently. Some of the prominent extremist leaders are as shown here. Bal Gangadhar Tilak, his period is shown. So he did many things for the good of country. He was given the title of Lokmanya. Initially a moderate, but later on an extremist leader. He started Ganesh festival in 1893, Shivaji festival 1896. He gave slogans for Indian freedom struggle. These slogans are Swarajya, Swadeshi. Also introduced the concept of boycotting various things including foreign goods. He founded Deccan Education Society in Pune, started publication of Kesari newspaper. Lala Lajpat Rai, his period is again shown here, 1865 to 1928. Given the title of Punjab Kesari, he died due to injuries sustained in the event of anti-Simon protests which were held in India. Bipin Chandra Pal, 1958 to 1932. Aurobindo Ghosh, 1870 to 1950. Aurobindo Ghosh introduced the concept of or the doctrine of passive resistance. The slogan Bande Mataram was introduced and his publication was Bhavani Mandir. In 1905, British government declared the partition of Bengal. It was announced by then Viceroy of India, Lord Curzon. The reason given by British government was that growth of underdeveloped region. They said that Bengal is being underdeveloped. We want to ensure growth of this region, whereas it was not the truth, because Bengal was one of the most prosperous region at that time. The main reason behind the partition of Bengal was they wanted to adopt the policy of divide and rule. They wanted to separate the communities by announcing partition of Bengal. This is the map during partition of Bengal. This shows 1905 partition line which divided Bengal during that period. The fallout of partition of Bengal was beginning of Swadeshi movement by the leaders of Indian National Congress. This movement started in 1905. Indian National Congress declared the Swadeshi movement in their Banaras session in 1905. Now it was a major jump towards Indian national movement which was started in 1905. At this stage, militant nationalism, that is the extremist leaders in Congress, they were of the opinion that this movement should be spread in rest of the India, and they wanted this Swadeshi movement to be converted into full-fledged political mass struggle. After partition of Bengal, there was a formation of Muslim League in 1906. Muslim League was formed at Dhaka under the leadership of persons whose names are shown here: Aga Khan, Nawab Habibullah or Salimullah, Nawab Mohsin ul Mulk. All India Mohammedan Educational Conference at Dhaka, which led to the foundation of Muslim League. Muslim League, they supported partition of Bengal, they opposed the Swadeshi movement, and they also demanded special safeguards for the community, that is minority community at that time, and they asked for separate electorates. This led to the communal differences. It can be said that the Britishers at this time were successful in their policy of divide and rule. During this period, the Congress was split between the leadership of moderates and extremists, because we already seen that the Swadeshi movement, which was started by Indian National Congress, was supposed to be, taken over to the entire country. The Swadeshi movement was felt by the extremist leaders that the Swadeshi movement need to encompass the entire country for freedom struggle, but it was not accepted by the other leadership in Congress. So this led to split in Congress leadership, which is called as Surat Split of 1907. Thereafter, Congress leadership remained with moderates till 1916. This shows a scene from Surat session of Congress 1907. During this period, the British government introduced Morley-Minto reforms in 1909. Under these reforms, they announced separate electorate for Muslims and some other constitutional measures were declared. Now at this stage, it can be seen that the British government was successful in creating rift within Congress, and it could also win the support of moderates and Muslims. Due to the efforts of especially the extremist leaders in Congress In 1911, partition of Bengal was modified and Bengal presidency was created. This partition was reversed due to widespread unrest, Swadeshi movement, and there was an assassination attempt on Lord Curzon. In 1912, British government announced shifting of capital from Calcutta to Delhi. This announcement was made in a Delhi Darbar. This is a place marked in Delhi where King George V and Queen Mary sat in Darbar of 1911 and declared the shifting of the capital of British Raj from Calcutta to Delhi. During this period, Home Rule movement started. The person who started this movement, her name Annie Besant. She was inspired by Irish rebellion and started the Home Rule movement in 1916. It was supported by Tiak wholeheartedly, and Tiak also asked other leaders to contribute and join this Home Rule movement. Muslim League was also convinced to support this movement. Lucknow session of Congress was held in 1919, and during this session many changes took place. One of the major change was Lucknow Pact. Under the Lucknow Pact, the extremists, they rejoined the Congress. There was also alliance between Congress and Muslim League. During this period, there were anti-British feelings among the Muslim, because this was the period of First World War. The anti-British feelings were generated because there was war between Britain and Turkey. Now, Turkey was a place where the religious head of Muslims, that is the Caliph. So, Caliph was located in Turkey, and during this First World War, his safety was threatened. So, with this background, the Muslim League, they joined Congress, and they also wanted to go against the British rule during this period by various movements which they started. So, this was the period of Congress, Muslim League unity, and also the extremists were also readmitted in the Congress. So, this shows the Lucknow Pact of 1916. Under this Lucknow Pact, Congress accepted separate electorates which were already declared by the British government, and all the parties they demanded dominion status. That is basically it was for independence. Now this unity between Congress leaders and Muslim League, it weakened the British government because they also were worried about the First World War, which was progressing on various fronts. In 1916, Britishers they announced the new policy whereby they increased the association of Indians in local governance. They also gradually developed local self-governing institutions. Hindu Mahasabha was against the British policy during this period. The Lucknow Pact, it continued and it survived till suspension of non-cooperation movement in 1922. We will see what about the non-cooperation movement a little later. The British government during this period also declared some new policies under Montague Declaration of 1917. Under this policy, there was increased association of Indians in administration and gradual development of local self-governing institutions. This was the basis of Government of India Act 1919. Second split in Indian National Congress took place in 1918. Some revolutionary activities during this period. Vasudev Balwant Phadke is called as the father of militant nationalism. Many revolutionary groups were formed in Bengal during this period, as shown here. First political robbery was Rangpur dacoity. Outside India, the revolutionary activities were started by leaders whose names are shown here. India House, formed by Shyamji Verma. Paris Indian Society, formed by Madam Bhikaji Kama. India House was also a place where newspaper Indian Sociologist was published, and it was later on sent to India. This newspaper Vande Mataram was started by Madam Bhikaji Kama. Indian Independence Committee, also called as Berlin Committee, was established by Virendranath Chattopadhyay. Ghadar Party movement started in 1913. Bhagat Singh founded Naujawan Bharat Sabha. Kakori train robbery 1925. The revolutionaries who were involved were Ram Prasad Bismil and Ashfaqullah Khan. Murder of General Saunders. For this, Bhagat Singh was made accused. Assembly bomb case, in which the revolutionaries led by Bhagat Singh, they tried to throw a bomb in British Assembly in Delhi. Chittagaon Armory dacoity in 1930. Surya Sen was involved in this dacoity. They wanted to loot arms and ammunition for revolutionary activities in India. In 1940, Udham Singh murdered General Dyer. He was murdered in London. Struggle for independence, second phase. In 1919, the British government announced Rowlatt Act. This act was announced to follow the policy of repression. Under this act, any person could be arrested even on the grounds of suspicion. It was passed in March 1919. Detention of any person was possible without any trial. Due to this policy of repression, anti-Rowlatt Satyagraha was started at many places in India. There was general hartal on 6th April 1919. After this hartal, some leaders were arrested in Amritsar on 10th April 1919. After arrest of leaders in Amritsar, many people they gathered in Jallianwala Bagh to protest the arrest of leaders. So this protest was on 13th April 1919. General Dyer on this day he ordered firing on the people who were protesting against arrest of their leaders. This firing was carried out without giving any warning to the people. The people were all unarmed. Thereafter, there was a declaration of martial law. This shows a scene from Jallianwala Bagh massacre. This shows the narrow passages which lead to the Jallianwala Bagh garden, and firing was carried out from these narrow passages. People had no place to escape from the ground. Martyrs' well at Jallianwala Bagh. The bullet marks visible on preserved wall at present day Jallianwala Bagh. Khilafat movement started in 1920. Reason for starting this movement was during First World War, Caliph, that is the religious head, who was Sultan of Turkey, and his safety was threatened due to attack on Turkey by British forces. This shows the map of Turkey, early Ottoman Empire from 16th to 17th century. Khilafat movement was started by two brothers, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali. This shows a scene from Khilafat movement where activists are shown leading a procession. Non-cooperation movement, September 1920 to February 1922. The decision for starting non-cooperation movement was taken in Calcutta session of Congress in September 1920. Non-cooperation movement was supposed to address two wrongs caused by the British government in India, that is the Khilafat issue and Jallianwala Bagh massacre. This shows the map of non-cooperation movement. During Khilafat movement, Hindu-Muslim unity was there. So this was a plus point to start the non-cooperation movement in India. The non-cooperation movement was supposed to be non-violent and it was supposed to be led by Gandhiji. However, non-cooperation movement was considered to be an unsuccessful attempt by Gandhiji for self-government or Swaraj. The reason being, this movement could not last for long time. We will see the reason for that. When non-cooperation movement was declared in Calcutta session of Congress, initially there was opposition to this movement by some Congress leaders, and thereafter many changes were made before its final launch. In Nagpur session of December 1920, some changes were made in Congress leadership as well as in the policy of non-cooperation movement. They changed the aim of this movement from self-government to Swaraj. This was done during the Nagpur session of Congress. And some changes were made in Congress leadership. The non-cooperation movement was supposed to carry out various activities, and some of the activities are as shown here. Surrender of titles by Indians, surrender of honorary ranks by various officers, resignation from offices and government posts, banning all government darbars, official functions, British courts, refusal to join military service, government jobs, boycott of foreign goods, etc. Picketing of shops selling foreign goods. Picketing means the common people will not be allowed to enter in the in the shops selling foreign goods. These are some of the events during this non-cooperation movement. This shows Hindus and Muslims displaying flags of the Indian National Congress and the Muslim League collecting clothes to be burnt as a part of NCM of 1922. Growth and spread. Though non-cooperation movement was supposed to be a non-violent movement, however, things went out of control. It was the first real mass movement, and the unity between Indian National Congress, Muslim League and various leaders shook the British government. due to the widespread growth and some violent incidents, the moderate leaders in Congress were alarmed. Violent outbreaks, and one of the violent outbreak was in Kerala, Mopala rebellion. This Mopala rebellion took place in 1921 along the Malabar coast. Leader of this rebellion was Ali Musliar. Areas affected by Mopala rebellion: non-cooperation movement was supposed to be converted into civil disobedience movement of 1922. This was decided in Ahmedabad session of Congress in December 1921 to convert into civil disobedience movement. And this CDM was supposed to be led by Gandhiji. It was supposed to start from Bardoli. However, Chauri Chaura incident, which happened in 1922, this incident led to cancellation of all the movements at that time, that is NCM as well as CDM. Mob clashed with police at Chauri Chaura, and this led to death of policemen as well as the mob. So police also fired in retaliation on the mob. So Gandhiji called off civil disobedience movement in February 1922. This is called as Bardoli resolution. This calling off of the civil disobedience movement and also terminating non-cooperation movement was not acceptable to many leaders. It shocked many leaders. Netaji Bose called it as a national calamity. Thereafter, Gandhiji was arrested and he was awarded 6 years imprisonment. This is the place in Gorakhpur where the Chauri Chaura incident took place. Swaraj Party was formed during this period. It was formed in 1922. Its foundation was laid on 1st January 1923. Also called as Congress Khilafat Swarajya Party. The founder leaders were Motilal Nehru, Chittaranjan Das. Members of Swaraj Party could win some of the legislative councils elections. The participation in legislative council elections was allowed by Montfort reforms of 1919. The Swaraj Party, their objectives were to participate in council elections and even in assembly elections, so that they could be part of the self-governance. Achievements of Swarajists: the Swaraj Party members could win elections in many places. Later on, most of the members resigned from the party and they also resigned from various political posts held by them. 1924, Muddyman Committee was constituted. Also called as Reforms Enquiry Committee or Muddyman Committee. This was constituted as a result of Government of India Act 1919. This committee inquired to find the demands of Indian leaders. These demands were put by resolution adopted by Swaraj Party in early 1920. Demands of Swaraj Party were revision of the constitution and requirement of full self-governing dominion status. Butler Committee, it was constituted in 1927. It is also called as State People's Conference. Or Indian States Committee. This Butler Committee was constituted to investigate and to give recommendations regarding the demands put forward by citizens of Indian princely states. However, the recommendations said that status quo, that is, no changes to be made in the governance of princely states at that time. We will briefly see some important aspects of early political life of Gandhiji. He started his political career in Africa. He formed this organization, Natal Indian Congress. Also started newspaper called as Indian Opinion in Africa. When he came to India, he started from Champaran in 1917. Ideology and thoughts of Gandhiji, basically non-violence, Simon Commission 1927. Simon Commission was constituted in 1927 to study constitutional reforms. Now the Government of India Act 1919 specified that after every 10 years there will be a commission to review this act. So for this reason Simon Commission was constituted. The Simon Commission was supposed to give their report in 1930. However, since there was no Indian members in the Simon Commission, it met with opposition in India. Its report was not accepted by Indian leaders. Lord Birkenhead, who was the Secretary of State for India, since Indian leaders did not accept the recommendations of Simon Commission, so he threw a challenge to congressmen to prepare a draft constitution. Nehru report was made accordingly. It was finalized during all party conference in Lucknow 1928. However, Muslim League voted against it. 13 December 1929 was given deadline for the British to leave India. Some of the highlights of Nehru report are as shown here. Demand of dominion status, bicameral legislature, no separate electorate or electorates, and some aspects of citizenship and fundamental rights were also incorporated. Governor General was supposed to be the nominal head. Jinnah's 14 points were against the Nehru report. They did not accept Nehru report. Later on, Indian National Congress declared 26 January as the Independence Day. This was declared during Lahore session of Congress in December 1929. A flag of Indian National Congress was unfurled at this place in Lahore. This place is called as Clock Tower. Purna Swaraj or Declaration of Independence and 26 January 1930 was declared as an Independence Day. To protest against the salt laws introduced by British government, salt satyagraha was declared and started in 1930. Dandi March was part of the salt satyagraha. Gandhiji started his march, 390-kilometer march from Sabarmati to Dandi, and thereafter it was decided to break the salt laws after reaching Dandi. civil disobedience movement which was launched in 1930. It is also known as Salt Satyagraha or Dandi March. Salt law was broken. Gandhiji was arrested along with his followers. It stirred the whole nation. Almost all the coastal towns witnessed breaking of salt law. This shows massive rally of protesters, almost a 2-mile long rally of Indians in Bombay protesting the arrest of Gandhiji in 1930. This salt satyagraha grew into mass satyagraha and mass civil disobedience movement. Due to this mass civil disobedience movement, thousands were arrested and put in jail by end of 1930. Lord Irwin, who was the Viceroy of India, he wanted to end this. Reason was that round table conferences had already started. First round table conference was already held and leaders from Congress could not attend it. That's why they wanted to finish this, and Gandhiji was released in January 1931. In Peshawar, civil disobedience movement was led by Pashto disciple of Gandhiji, Ghaffar Khan. He was later on awarded Bharat Ratna. He supported Congress leadership during the time of protests against Rowlatt Act, also participated in Khilafat movement. He opposed a partition of India and he demanded Pakhtunistan, that is a separate place for Pashto people in Pakistan. This shows the red shirt movement started by Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, and the participants are also called as Khudai Khidmatgar. In 1931, Irwin-Gandhi Pact was declared. Under this pact, it was decided to discontinue civil disobedience movement. Reasons we have already seen, that the British government wanted Congress leaders to participate in round table conference in England. Under the Irwin-Gandhi Pact, there was withdrawal of prosecutions except some cases of serious violence. Otherwise, all the prisoners were left free. and from British side they also removed the salt laws. The salt laws and salt taxes were done away with, except few restrictions were kept. Next, second phase of civil disobedience movement. Due to failure in second round table conference, second phase of civil disobedience movement started. During this period, Lord Willingdon adopted the policy of repression. So this was in violation of Gandhi-Irwin Pact. Many leaders and Congress workers were suppressed. The movement resumed in January 1932 after second round table conference. The British government was empowered to arrest any person even on the reasons of suspicion, and many leaders were arrested during this period. Gandhiji undertook 21 days fast. He also formed Harijan Sevak Sangh. However, this movement ceased in April 1934. There was no positive outcome, but yes, inherent strength in the leadership and the unity of people was discovered. We will see briefly the three roundtable conferences which were held in England. The roundtable conferences were organized by British government to discuss constitutional reforms in India. Earlier we have seen that Government of India Act 1919 demanded that there has to be review every 10 years. And to review the Government of India Act 1919, Simon Commission was constituted in 1927. However, the Simon Commission was not successful because there was no Indian leaders in that Simon Commission. So as a result, roundtable conferences were held in England as per the recommendation of Simon Commission. First roundtable conference was held in 1930. As we have seen, it was not successful because the Congress leaders were under arrest in India as outcome of Salt Satyagraha, Dandi March and civil disobedience movement. Though some leaders of minority parties reached England, but British government decided that we will not proceed without Congress leaders. Reason being, they said that Congress represents India. So nothing much happened except concept of All India Federation got support in the first roundtable conference, but there was no concrete outcome as such. Thereafter, under Irwin Gandhi Pact, leaders were released and appeal was made to Gandhi to talk with Irwin, and that was the background of Irwin Gandhi Pact. In 1931, second roundtable conference was held. Some prominent leaders of Congress who attended this conference were Gandhiji, Sarojini Naidu. In the second roundtable conference, Gandhiji claimed that Congress represents India. It was said that everybody is Hindu in India. There is no concept of minority. So they said that there should be no separate electorates for any minority community. However, other Indian delegates rejected the claims put forward by Gandhiji. They felt that the minority issue should continue, and thus there was a deadlock over minority issue in second roundtable conference. So the Congress leaders and Gandhiji, they came back disappointed. There was no positive outcome of the second roundtable conference. After second roundtable conference, Ramsay MacDonald, he headed new government in England. In 1932, third roundtable conference was held. There was Labour Party in Britain. However, Congress refused to attend the third roundtable conference. So whatever decisions were called as white paper, that is nothing concrete issued by the British government. Now whatever decisions took place in third roundtable conference, these decisions were the basis of Government of India Act 1935. Communal Award and Pune Pact. After third roundtable conference, British Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald, he declared separate electorates for minorities. This was again to continue the policy of divide and rule in India. Congress stand. Congress was not in favor. They neither accepted nor rejected the communal award declared by British Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald. Gandhiji's response, he said that through the communal award, they are trying to attack Indian unity and nationalism. He started indefinite fast. He started indefinite fast in September 1932. He was arrested, and thereafter there was a Pune Pact. Pune Pact was between Gandhiji and Dr. Ambedkar. It was signed in Yerwada jail. Dr. Ambedkar signed on behalf of depressed classes. Under this pact, they abandoned separate electorates. We have seen earlier that the separate electorates were introduced by communal award, but however, due to various prevailing circumstances, finally the leaders, they decided to abandon the separate electorates. They demanded reserved seats in legislature. So as per the demand, reserved seats for minorities were increased in the legislature. The British government also accepted these changes. This shows Dr. Ambedkar signing on Pune Pact. Thereafter, elections were held in 1937. Congress could form ministry. Congress ministries were in office from 1937 to 1939. This was the period of Second World War. Next, struggle for independence, fourth phase. In 1939, there was a political deadlock in India because Congress ministries they resign. August offer of 1940. As we have seen earlier, there was vacuum in the government because of resignation of Congress ministries in various provinces, and British government desperately wanted support of Indians for Second World War. Congress leadership they agreed for conditional support, and that condition was they wanted national government. Lord Linlithgow he turned down the demand of Congress, the demand for national government, and he introduced August offer. Under the August offer, it was said that constitution making body will be formed after the end of Second World War. He also said that there will be more Indians in the War Executive Council. And also, War Advisory Council will have Indian representatives. However, Congress did not approve the August offer. Individual satyagraha was started. This was to affirm the right of speech by Indians. During this time, the radicals and leftist leaders they felt a need for a mass civil disobedience movement, whereas Gandhiji was of the opinion to start individual satyagraha. Some of the satyagrahis they were arrested are as follows: Vinoba Bhave, Jawaharlal Nehru, Brahmadatta. Thereafter, modifications were made to August offer, and these modifications are called as Cripps proposals. In March 1942, Sir Stafford Cripps was sent to India to get full cooperation for World War II. This was the major proposal, that India would be a dominion associated with UK. The Cripps mission was also rejected by all leaders because there was no real transfer of power. It was said that Cripps mission is a post-dated check drawn on a crashing bank by Gandhiji. In 1942, Quit India movement was started. It was decided by Indian National Congress at its Bombay session, and thereafter the Quit India resolution was passed and the movement started in the entire country. Do or die was the slogan given by Gandhiji. Government again adopted the policy of repression. This shows a scene from Quit India movement where knockdown demonstrators are seen. Subhash Chandra Bose and Indian National Army. He gave the slogan Jai Hind. It was started as Indies Legion or Special Bureau for India. Subhash Chandra Bose arrived in Sumatra, which was held by Japan, in 1943. INA was first formed in 1942 after the fall of Singapore under Captain Mohan Singh. He was Indian officer in British Army. First, INA collapsed and it was disbanded thereafter. However, it was revived under Subhash Chandra Bose in 1943. In 1945, most of the INA soldiers, they lost because of many adverse conditions they had to face, especially in Burma. Wavell Plan. After the political deadlock due to resignation of Congress ministries in 1939, new executive council was formed at the center. It was decided under the Wavell Plan that all except Viceroy and Commander-in-Chief of Army to be Indians. Next, Cabinet Mission Plan of 1946. After end of Second World War, a new government was formed in England and they decided to hand over the independence to India. As per that, interim government was formed in India and Constituent Assembly was constituted in India. Thereafter, Mountbatten Plan of 1947. So, under the Mountbatten Plan of 1947, it was decided that independence will be given to India. And partition was also decided during this period.